Welcome to our channel today. If you're all about finding out information about motorcycle rallies, you are in the right place. Today, we're going to be talking about the shooting that was in Red River and how it affects the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. We talked to the chief, so stay tuned.
So find out what's going to happen in Sturgis. You never know.
Just last week, we sat down and talked to the chief in Sturgis about the shooting that they had over there in Red River. A couple weeks ago, there was a shooting in Red River, New Mexico. They actually had a motorcycle rally going on, and 3 people ended up passing away, and several others got hurt. So what the issue is today we're going to be talking about is how is that going to affect Sturgis. So we sat down with the chief of police in Sturgis, South Dakota, and we wanted to talk about how it's going to affect them after a shooting happened in Red River, New Mexico. They had a motorcycle rally going on. 2 motorcycle clubs clashed on their main street. Several people got killed and several people got hurt. Because of that, they actually canceled a couple more events in New Mexico. That was going to be motorcycle things coming up here in the next couple of months. So how is that going to affect Sturgis? Are we going to end up canceling Sturgis because of the shooting? Is there going to be a very large police presence? What's going to happen? We're going to talk about that today. So let's get down to it and just talk a little bit about, things that go on at a motorcycle rally. One of the problems when we go to a motorcycle rally, or actually a lot of different events like this, there's a lot of people that are carrying firearms. And that seems to be some of the problems that run into it. One of the things you must know right off the bat is if you're carrying a gun and you're anywhere near a liquor establishment, a bar, a campground, anything like this that sells liquor, it is against the law to have a gun while they're serving alcohol. It doesn't matter if you're drinking or not. If you're in that establishment and you've got a gun, you could have some serious charges. You could be arrested. A lot of things could happen, could be really ruin your trip. The other thing you got to worry about is if you're drinking, you're not allowed to drink alcohol and carry a gun at the same time either. So that could end up causing a lot of issues like that. And one of the things we talk about, and we've been talking about this quite a bit since the shooting came on, that, there really isn't a reason if you're downtown or you're over at campgrounds or you're over on a nice ride, why are you carrying a gun? Pretty much everybody that's at the rally should all be what we call like-minded people. We all have the same theory. We're all about motorcycles. We're all having fun. There really isn't an issue to have this. And I think that's what ends up happening is these guys and girls, or whatever the case may be with a shooting, most of the time it's a guy that does the shooting. They've been drinking some beers. There's a few words that go back and forth. Next thing you know, somebody's pulling a gun. Somebody else is pulling a gun. A bunch of people get shot. Luckily this time, no innocent people got shot that were at the rally. It ended up being just the motorcycle clubs are the ones that got wounded and died from this, which is, there's no need for it. There was no need for it. Whatever the argument was, whatever the issue was, guns should not be at a motorcycle rally. That's the first problem that we have when we talk about this kind of stuff. And, it is your God-given right. It's your Second Amendment right to have a gun, and there's nothing wrong with having a gun. We actually have gun concealed carry cards. So we're able to have a gun and things like that, but when we're down on Main Street and things like that, we don't have a gun on our person. And because you just don't need that. There's one of the things, same thing, if you're pulling a gun, and we went through the class and everything, and they tell you, if you're pulling a gun, you better be planning on using it. Well, the problem that is, there's a lot of people, especially in Sturgis, hundreds, thousands, lots of people going to be down there in the area. And you start wailing that gun off and shooting, no telling who you're going to hit.
And somebody else gets excited and they pull their gun out, and then everybody, he sees she's got a gun and he sees he's got a gun, and they start shooting each other, and innocent people get hurt.
And then you don't know how many people around you is carrying guns, and they're starting to pull their guns and start to shoot. So that's the first thing that we should really, everybody should talk about it. And we've called a couple of the motorcycle clubs, and we're kind of emphasizing that too. And I know, they may not be listening to what we say, but that's the truth. There really is no need at a motorcycle rally to have this issue. And I know there's a territorial rights when you're a motorcycle club and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, hey, go up to that club and say, hey, dude, you're not supposed to be in our territory. You didn't call, you didn't get permission, all that. We're going to deal with you after the rally. We're going to come talk to you. Whatever the case may be, take it out of town, get it out of the way, get away from all the pedestrians and get away from us ralliers. I don't want to get shot. I don't want her to get shot. And we don't need to ruin a rally. We're actually not too far from Laughlin, Nevada. And that's one of the things they've said back in 2001. We had a shooting between a couple of motorcycle clubs. And they said from that moment on, it went downhill. And what ended up happening was a bigger presence of police. They started hassling everybody. They started DUIing everybody, hauling their bikes away, going to jail. It was $20,000, $25,000 worth of fines and tickets and having your bike impounded and all that. It's just endless, and that just ruins the rally for the rest of us. So that's what you want to think about when you're there. Don't think about just yourself, and don't think about, I want to argue with this guy and I'm going to shoot him because I'm not happy with what he said or what he did or how he looked at me or whatever the case may be. You know, we're out there filming all the time, and we talk to a lot of the motorcycle clubs and stuff, and we know, but I mean the same thing. If they're out there and they're like, hey dude, I don't want you to film me, and I'm okay with that. You know, I don't have to pull a gun, or he don't have to pull a gun on me and say, dude, don't shoot me, don't fire, don't shoot your camera at me. You know, and that's fine, and that should be all that should be said. And, you know, respect everybody. That's what this is really more about than anything else is the motorcycle clubs really want to be respected. We do too. And the pedestrians, the motorcycle people, everybody there, we should all be respecting each other. And that's the right is. So let's talk a little bit about what the police chief told us. So the main thing what the Sturgis Police Department does is they've been doing this for many, many years. They have very good security. They actually have a plan. So if something did happen like that, they have resources that are at their disposal to combat what's going on. That's one of the reasons you see all the police on Main Street. There's several of them walking around and things.
Well, you have to understand too, the police officer's job is to serve and protect. So they're not there to harass you. They're there to keep an eye out for you, to keep you safe and to keep you protected. So if something does go down, they can nip it in the bud before it gets out of hand.
And so that's pretty much what the chief said. Nothing's really going to change this year from that shooting. But
I guess you never know. I mean, look at today's society. There is mass shootings everywhere. So a motorcycle rally is a mass gathering. And if you get one crazy person to show up, you want that protection there. People looking out for you.
It looks like every place is not allowing cuts or colors in any of the bars in Sturgis. So that's already could be a problem. There is the open container now that's going to be on Main Street.
Beer and wine only.
And what did the chief say about that this year?
He said that the first couple of years they've kind of been warning, lenient. He does leave it up to his officers whether to arrest or give a ticket or a warning. It's up to the officer's discretion. But for 3 years, even if you're new, I guess you've heard us talk about the open container law. You know the rules and regulations. There's a set area where you can be with the open container, a set time you can be with the open container, and you can only have beer and wine in that open container. So you've been
warned.
You've been warned, you've been told, you've been schooled, I don't know. And now it's time that you should be able to figure that out for yourself. And like I said, I would say the majority of the time the police officers are going to say, hey, that's not a mixed, you've got a mixed drink in there, you have to either dump it, or if the same officer has seen you several times, then you might get arrested or a ticket or something like that. So just be aware of the circumstances, and you know what the rules and regulations are for the open container laws.
And so what this means is the open container is the reason you would get pulled over or talked to or whatever the issue is because you don't have the cup that they sell. They have a cup that they sell. I think it's $10 or $12 or whatever it is. I'm not sure the price. We don't have one. If you had it from last year or the year before, you can bring it back and they can reuse it. You can actually pour your own beer in the cup. You can pour your own wine in the cup out of your car or your motorcycle or whatever. But what you can't have is open containers. I can't have my,
White Claw or whatever. You can't walk around with a White Claw or a bottle of beer.
Or can of beer. So that's the idea is you can't do that. Now you can, like I say, if you're in the bar and you got a can of beer and you're drinking out of the can, you can, before you go out the door, have your cup and you pour it in, and it's got to be the Sturgis cup. Yes. And we'll show you that when we get to Sturgis. I don't know if we got a picture of the cup before, but I had one on one of the highlight videos. You can kind of see the people walking down the street with their cup. And they've enlarged the area now, and we'll be putting the map up here real soon on one of the videos coming up, and we'll actually show you the area now. You can go all the way over to the Iron Horse now. You can go down to JP Cycles. You can go over to the Harley store. There's a lot of places now you can walk around with that special cup with your beer or your wine in it. Sturgis is going to be the same as it was pretty much last year. And remember, talk to those police officers out there. They're always great people. They're there to have some fun too. They're not there to hassle you. We're going to be talking about a little bit about Daytona here in the next few weeks, telling you what, we talked to the chief there, we talked to the sheriff, and we talked to all the different municipalities there. Got that out. And we're going to find out, and we're going to tell you why. There's been a couple of videos out there that people were saying they were hassled and things like that. And we're going to talk about that, and we have some evidence and some proof because we were there and seen some of these instances go on. And so we're going to give you that feedback. And a lot of it is just, you got to think about it. You know, it's like they always tell us. What's the one thing they always tell us?
Oh, if you're looking for attention, they'll be glad to give you some attention.
That's right. So we don't want to hassle everybody like that. And they're not there to give you a hard time. And now we're talking about Sturgis. Now, when you get out to the state police and you get out to the sheriff's department, that's a whole nother ball of wax. We can have no control over them. They're all different. And when we get to our next video, when we talk about the police departments in the Daytona area, once we tell you what's going on, you're going to go, yeah, I did see it that way. Well, see, when we're going to explain to you, and you're going to understand the way it is. And it's just like us. We've never been pulled over. We've never been talked to by a police officer.
We've talked to a police officer.
Yeah, a lot of them. And most of them there are having a good time. Last year in Sturgis, most of the guys are all smiling. They'll take pictures with you. They're really great guys. Most of the ones downtown are all local police. They do it, but you have to remember, these guys are working 15-hour shifts.
Yeah.
And they're working.
Same thing in Sturgis.
They're working the whole rally. So, they're there from the Friday night when it opens up, Friday morning till the end of Saturday. And Sunday too, they're still out there on Sunday because the streets now are going to stay open all the way till Monday morning before they open them up.
I think Sunday evening, you're still going to be able to just park bikes only.
Yeah, so they're even doing that in the beginning of the week too. I think it's on Wednesday they're shutting the street down. Wow. So it's going to be really neat that, and even all these delivery trucks, they cannot be on Main Street. So it's really neat that, especially for us that get there really early, we like to get there early. You pull up and all these vendors have got their vans and trucks. They're taking up all the parking spots and all that. And it's like, hey, we're here early. Just because you got here late isn't our fault. And so now they've passed an ordinance that, hey, those vans and trucks can't be on Main Street before rally time.
So we just want to say the chief says everybody is welcome. Everybody, they're going to protect and serve as best they can. Status quo, they've got plans. You come out, they'll keep you safe. They'll do their best. So we'll see you in Sturgis.
That's right. And it's going to be a great year, great time, and we're going to have good weather. We've been told by somebody, it was the Harley dealer. Yep. At Black Hills Harley, they said they talked to Mother Nature and said, hey, let's be good and easy this year, not quite so hot as it was last year.
Yep.
So we'll be talking about that, about the weathers and the conditions and all that kind of great stuff too. So stay tuned, because we've got a lot of great information coming about
Sturgis.
That's right. Also, Milwaukee's coming up. We're doing that too.
That's right. So stay tuned to our channel to find out all kinds of great information. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share us with your family and friends. Think about Patreon. Give us a big thumbs up. Ring that bell for notifications. And we'll see you on the next video.
There you go. See you later.